order the special meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, April 26, 2019 at 12 p.m. And we're going to go into executive session, section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act, to meet with the city attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the City Council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to annexation proceedings and industrial district. Hmm? Should be. Nobody lives there. Plus it protects their entrance. Yes, that's what. Okay, we are gonna reconvene in open session to consider and take action on any items discussed in executive session at 1:17. So,
You want me to call the next item on the agenda, sir?
well, it's the city manager's consider an act on resolution number 2019-889 declaring city intent to begin annexation of up to 600 acres of land into the territorial limits of the city of Aransas Pass, directing the city manager to prepare a service plan for the extension of municipal services to the proposed annexation area and setting, posting, and publishing 2 public hearings on annexation.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Roxanne Pais-Catronio, and I'm the Aransas Pass City Attorney. Today, I am before you to discuss the proposed resolution to initiate annexation of 600 acres. The 600 acres are going to be west of town. As you know, the Texas Local Government Code currently allows cities to initiate annexation. They are required to hold 2 public hearings to hear comments for and against the annexation. They're also required to prepare a service plan, and after those 3 things are done, then the City Council may adopt an ordinance that would annex the property. The proposed area, if we could switch to the next slide. That's what we discussed. I'm going to give you a verbal description of the proposed west side area, and then we'll see a map. The proposed annexation area includes the 600 acres of property. It's located on the west side of the city of Aransas Pass as ETJ, and on the north side of Highway 35 between the cities of Aransas Pass and Gregory. And it's also south of West Wheeler Avenue between FM 1069 and the west side of the city of Aransas Pass is ETJ. And we'll show you a picture of that mapping right now. I'll ask our assistants to please pass out the map to the audience so that they can have their own personal map of the proposed area. We can go on to the next slide. We'll discuss our annexation schedule. Tonight is your consideration for the initiation of that annexation. Today, if approved, written notices will immediately be sent out to all the owners and public and private service providers. On May the 8th, we will have our first public hearing on this proposed annexation, and we will have a second hearing as well. I'm sorry. We'll have the first public hearing on May the 28th and the second public hearing on May the 29th. We will post notices for both of these on May the 8th. The newspaper will adopt or propose to adopt the initiation of the final ordinance to annex on June the 18th. So 2 public hearings, May the 28th and May the 29th for Phase 3, adoption of up to 600 acres of land on the west side of town.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to say a comment or speak? Sure, coming up to the podium.
Name and address. Good afternoon, Council. I'm Martha Hoblitzel from Ingleside. I own property in the city of Aransas Pass. I own property over by Pacific. My first husband and I bought it in the 70s. It became mine from the divorce. I've had it for 37 years. I've never been able to step foot on my property. There's no streets to it. There's over half the year it's underwater. There's overgrowth. You've never provided streets. I can't, I thought about putting something out there, and then when it come time to pay taxes one year, I think in the 90s, my taxes went up 1,743% for 6 25-foot lots, because you had changed it, not you, but previous individuals from the council, had changed it to ag. I can't do anything with it because I don't own 10 acres, but I have never been able to get on the property. I can't take pictures of the property except from about 4 blocks away to show the swamp, to show the overgrowth, to show that I can't access my property. Here I have property inside the city limits that you can't provide drainage for. You don't provide streets to it. You don't provide any water, sewer, other city services to the property. And now you're in the midst of 3 annexations. I'm totally against you annexing anybody till you take care of Aransas Pass. I also own property on Rice Street. I'm in the process of offering it for sale. And I had to turn on the utilities. Everything was off. I'm over there. Central Point Energy gave me a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. appointment. I get there at 6:55. At 9:30, I'm not in the best of mood. I start typing out a letter on my cell phone. I sent it to them. I sent it to representatives. I sent it to the city. In less than an hour, I have code enforcement contacting me for not picking up a permit to turn on the electric and gas. I didn't know there was any requirement for a permit to turn on electric or gas. Come to find out, I didn't need one because services were on within 6 months, but it was harassment. If we object to things, I was objecting for y'all allowing CenterPoint Energy to treat property owners like they treat us. I'm 65. I have some disabilities. I'm sitting over there in the mosquitoes and the pollen and waiting for whenever, and I'm trying to let you know there is a problem and you shouldn't allow them to do people that way. And I get harassed by code enforcement. That was harassment. They could have looked at the city bill and seen that there was services in less than 3 months. That's harassment. I also object to some of your annexation because my son owns property on Arena. He built his house, he built his buildings, his boat barn, his shop with his own 2 hands, his own tools. Harvey took it out, took out 3/4 of his home, took out his whole shop, took out his whole boat barn. He rebuilt it himself. My other son helped him. A couple other people come and helped. Now you want to annex him? There's not one thing you can offer him. He's got a water well. He drills water wells. He's got a water well. He's got sewer. You're not going to improve the road. You're probably not going to give him any police protection out there off of Arena. You're not going to go down Arena, I don't expect. There's not one thing you will or will ever offer him, just like my properties on Con Brown Harbor, on Pacific. They're going to be there. It's going to be there. You're going to tax. I hope, well, his taxes will probably go up over 40% if you annex him. Just like mine went from $50 a month to over $500. It increased 1,743%. And that's what you're going to do to these people. I'm not in the annexation area. My son is, and I feel like a mother bear. I object to that. And I object to harassment when we complain that this isn't right. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Pretty sure.
Hi, my name is Liz Devaney. I live on Jacoby Lane in the annexed area that y'all are trying to do. My husband and I bought our home about 5 years ago, and the reason that we purchased this home was so that we could be in the county, not in the city limits. We have made a lot of renovations to our home since Hurricane Harvey. Again, like she said, we did it with our own 2 hands. I have heard numerous stories about other sections of town where y'all have annexed, and water is supposed to be put in. It has not been put in for several years, but you're still charging people for the service that they're not receiving. I don't think anybody in this audience right here wants to deal with that, and I think that you guys need to take into consideration that if it was your property and you were going through this, you wouldn't want somebody to do it to you. Thank you.
Honorable City Council and City Attorney, my name is Janae Evans, and I'm a commercial real estate broker, and I represent the interests of one of the largest landowners of a tract of land, 350 acres, located at 1700 to 2241 Highway 35 North in the ETJ of Aransas Pass here. And that is within Phase 1 or Phase 2 of your proposed annexation, and I am here representing one of the owners of the limited partnership who is too sick to stay today. But notes, let's see, these are notes from, I guess this was the last meeting that he asked me to share, from speaker number 4 at 11:36, stated that there's an area of Phase 2 that 68% of the tracts are owned by people who do reside in the city of Aransas Pass. And they went on to say most of them are commercial industrial. A lot of the larger tracts have actually contacted me, and this was stated by speaker number 4. And they went on to say the property owners of the largest tracts have contacted me in this Phase 2 seeking a voluntary annexation because they do not want to be part of Corpus Christi. It goes on to say, I suspect the Phase 2 annexation would have been a reduced number of residents who will be upset because blah, blah, blah. And so the concern on behalf of Mojave Limited is that the owners have not been contacted by anyone concerning this annexation, and they believe that the above statement was made that was misrepresentative, misleading, false, and damaging to the property owners, and specifically Mojave Limited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
For the record, all notices have been sent to all property owners regarding Phase 1, Phase 2 annexation. If there's an approval of Phase 3, all property owners will receive the notice. The notices do contain the public hearings. We have received and are in receipt of development agreements that have been signed by property owners in Phase 2 that are large tracts. So we weren't specific about who in particular in Phase 2, but we do have development agreements from people who want to be part of the city in Phase 2 that own large tracts.
Thank you.
Okay. City councilors, city attorney, city manager. My name is Ed Nelson. I'm part owner of Rockport Terminals, and I just want to lodge and on behalf of my partners, our objection to the annexation. We were notified. We didn't know that we were part of the Phase 2 until your meeting 10 p.m. Was lobbed onto our lap that there is actually a phase 2. We bought this property a couple years ago. We took a hell of a risk. I'm sure anybody that's been here for years knows how dirty that property was and what the industry was like before we got there. We've worked with the TCQ. We have a case manager. We cleaned this property up. And there's no intention of having another similar dirty industry on that site. And we've spoke to the mayor and councilors when we first bought the property to solicit support or objection to what we were doing, not only from the city but from the county of Aransas. And we received overwhelming support, and that's what we've told the people that are helping us with this project, people that are providing the money to pay for this cleanup, because we've been writing checks for 2 years solid. Okay, there is no income, there's no cash flow, there's no business. We're right at the point where we're starting to look for partners to help us with the development of the property. And Mr. Edwards, we were candid with you in our meeting with my partner and our office manager. We told you what we were up to. I feel that that's being used against us now. We have nothing to hide. We have no reason to lie. We're just business people. I am actually a resident of the area. I'm not a resident of Aransas Pass, but I'm living here. I moved here from Australia, and this is my project. This is what I'm doing right now. Just like you guys have your jobs, this is my job.
Sir, could you please clarify what project or property that you're referring to?
Rockport Terminals.
Okay.
Okay? Is everybody aware where Rockport Terminals is? The old Degussa plant?
Yes.
Okay. From what I can understand and from what the people that I've spoken to are under the impression that these properties in the initial annexation had to be annexed to keep Corpus Christi from coming in and taking the property, the land, making it part of the city of Corpus Christi. All right, well, there's merit in that. You know, I haven't looked right into it, but if that's the argument, well, that's a strategic move by the city. But as far as this property goes, we are already inside the Aransas Pass ETJ. The city of Corpus Christi cannot get to our property unless I've been ill-informed by our legal and the map from the city surveyors. I can't see why our property and any property around us that is in part of phase 2 needs to be annexed. Can somebody please explain why, if we're already in the ETJ, you need to annex our property? Because it's certainly not to keep Corpus Christi out.
There are phases of phase 1 and phase 2. Back when we began the annexation of phase 1 and phase 2, you'll recall that the city of Corpus Christi was annexing on a weekly basis. We did not know if they were going to annex a third time. If they would have annexed a third time, they would have completely encroached in and surrounded the city of Aransas Pass. With the passage, if it passes of phase 1 and phase 2, that now allows for the city of Aransas Pass to maintain zoning control, any industrial district agreements, as well as code enforcement control on the future growth of economic development on Highway 35 bypass and Highway 35 business. With that said, at this time, there is a House bill known as 347. House Bill 347 is a bill that will prohibit cities from ever being able to annex again unless it's a voluntary annexation. If you do not annex at this time, the city of Aransas Pass will never have any additional property into it unless it's voluntarily annexed contiguous with the city and at least 1,000 feet in width with somebody living in it. So with that said, this council has the right to not pass phase 1, not pass phase 2, or even 3 for that matter. With that, if they choose not to do it, House Bill 347, which will get passed and signed, will prohibit the city from ever annexing again, and there will be no controls whatsoever in the ETJ. A city cannot use its zoning code or its building codes to protect the city or its citizens in the city's ETJ. So with that said, sir, if the shoreline is not annexed or if 35 bypass is not annexed, anything can get built without the city being able to protect its surrounding citizens from what is built.
Okay, well, I hear that, but from what I understand, the spirit of that bill, that House bill, is to stop forced annexation. There's nothing stopping us voluntary annexing or the city proposing to annex, from what I've been told, as long as the citizens of the city are behind the annexation. Now, the common thread here is if the city came to us and these other people that are being annexed and said, look, we're going to annex you, your tax is going to go up 44%, okay? But for that extra 44%, you're going to get road improvements. You're going to have shoulders on the roads where people don't have to pull off into the swamp and get stuck because the road's not wide enough. You're going to get someone picking your garbage up. You're going to have deep sewer. Well, if you can't service what was done 2 years ago, what chance have you got doing something that's this far out from the city? And what are we going to get for our money? Number one, and number two, if it's just to provide control over what people are doing in the county, well, as a landowner, I absolutely object to the reason for annexing our property, just so you can have more control over what we're doing.
Control
That's
by
not what we're
building,
doing.
the control is by building codes and by zoning. So if there are no rules that pertain to what's built, how it's constructed, or what the use is of the land, then technically speaking, that area could
We
become.
have to go through the county, we have to go through the building department
talking about
with
the
the county
city.
every time we do anything on that property. We are governed, but not only by state, but the county. We don't have a free-for-all.
I'm talking about the city's authority.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just want to register my objection.
Thank you.
And we are in the ETJ. You don't need to annex our properties.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is J.T. Schmink, newly member to the Aransas County. I bought a house for the first time in my life about 2 months before Harvey hit. I specifically bought in the county because I saw what was going on, not only in my local areas, but the surrounding areas as well. As far as the comment about the letters of second and third phase, those have been affected. I received one letter. That was the first phase. So I've not received anything about the second phase. And the only reason why I bring that up is because I've been told I'm no longer a part of the first phase. The fact is, the map that you handed out right now, I've got a question for you. Is that a Google map or a certified surveyor map?
Are you talking about the Phase 2 map?
The map you just handed out. ma'am.
Phase 3.
Phase 3 map is a map that's produced by city personnel.
By Google or a city surveyor?
Sir, we have the list of tracks, if you'd like the tracks, but we have used our city resources to pull
My
that
point
map
being,
together.
folks, is this
And
is
if
where
you
people are
haven't-
having problems. Because when you ask a straightforward question like I just did, is this a Google map or a certified survey map? We can't even get a straight answer on it.
She just told you the city employees did that map.
And I specifically rebutted or asked again if that was done by an official surveyor.
No, it hasn't.
It's a Google map.
Yeah.
It's a Google map. Okay, so that explains a lot of the confusion to what's been going
It's
on.
not a Google map? Okay.
No.
Well, then
She just answered the question on how
It's-
that map came about.
Your own
It's
council
a
member
city
said it was a Google map.
resource map. It was produced with pictometry, but we have the list of tracks specifically related. There are 14 tracks in that area. 80%, I believe, of the tracks are owned by people who do not reside in Aransas Pass. If a gentleman has not received notice for Phase 2 or Phase 3, it's because he's not a property owner affected by Phase 2 or Phase 3. I'm sorry, I will speak louder. Is that better? Okay. If you have not received notice of annexation for Phase 2 and Phase 3, that's because you are not a property owner in Phase 2 or Phase 3 and are not required to receive notice. On phase 3, the map was produced by city personnel. It was used across the interchange of pictometry as well as tracks listed in the appraisal district, followed and according to the rules of the state of Texas for us to follow.
So according to a town hall that I attended, they had a official surveyed map out there. And I couldn't get a straight answer from them, and I can't get a straight answer here today, if my property on Murphy Road is being annexed. Not only that, the proposed, what I was told, and that's why I'm here for clarification, is that the line that is going to be drawn.
Let me recommend that the gentleman, we do have city staff here that can take a look at what his property ID number is and let him directly know right now if he wishes to, on whether or not his property is being annexed.
To my point, you guys are splitting literally a street. You're not going by property lines, you're going by a street. So I think it creates a jurisdictional problem in case emergency services have to show up. So on my side of the street, you want to annex my property or propose, at least I got that first phase letter. You're going to raise my property taxes, but you got no say, no jurisdiction right across the street from me, and it looks worse than the city dump. So my taxes go up, my property value goes down essentially because you're raising my taxes. To echo what's already been said here, there is no service the city's going to provide to me that I don't already have. I have water, I have sewage, I take care of my own trash, and I don't even burn it. There is no services you're going to provide to the people on Murphy Road that we don't already have there, as well as the other surrounding annex areas as well. We still haven't even recovered from Harvey. So is our tax money that you plan to take from this annexation going to go to pay for past due bills? How long do we have before we see those improvements that you're supposed to provide to us? Are we going to, if my property sits 300-400 feet off the street, are you going to run the water line straight to my house, or do I got to pay for that? An additional cost to me, plus my taxes go up. This is why a lot of people are animate against this annexation, as well as other people can't afford to meet the city codes because they have lived what they have lived for as long as they've lived there without, and with the understanding of these are the rules. As the gentleman just pointed out, well, it's not a free-for-all out there. You have to have permits. And again, if this is your property, as American citizens, if any of you guys ever served, I know I did, I like my privacy. I don't like having Big Brother look over my shoulder. Thank you for your time.
Martha Hoblitzel, thank you. I want a clarification. The attorney said that she had received letters or requests from people in the annexation areas who want to be part of the city. Do you have a number on how many residences that would be?
I would have to pull all of the agreements. I don't have numbers off the top of my head right now.
Can you guesstimate whether it's...
Off the top of my head right now, I believe that there's 3 different large commercial tracts.
3?
And each tract averages between 30 to 50 acres.
Do we have 3 businesses out there? No. We have 3 businesses that do not want to be annexed. We have over 3 that do not want to be annexed, and we have a lot of residents that do not want to be annexed. Do we need to send you a certified letter that we do not want to be annexed? I mean, 100, definitely more than 3. If they want to be annexed and they have a business, they need to move their business back in town.
Hello, my name is Graciela Aguirre, and I live in 902 Jacoby Lane. I was in the first annexation. The reason why I'm living in this area is because we were trying to live outside of the city. We already have water. We already have electricity. I don't see the point to be inside of the city. What is going to happen only is like we are going to pay more taxes, and probably we are not going to be able to have our animals, chickens, cows, whatever we wanted to do. The city of Aransas Pass has citizens that they still need water city. This is, you are in charge of the city, so you need to be able, or you are responsible for the citizens of Aransas Pass. I understand, but I don't understand why you wanted to add more land, why right now there's like citizens right now that they need water city. There is one thing. Another one is like the hospital. The hospital is not fixed yet because I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's no money. I don't know why. But I hear that you are going to have some kind of, in 2 years, they are going to fix it again. But I don't see nobody working in the hospital. We need the hospital for the citizens right there in the area, because I hear that there's a lot of people said, oh no, this hospital is not good. But it was. It was, because the hospital saved a lot of lives. And that's my point right now, that you need to take care of your citizens, the people that is inside. I don't think that you need like more responsibility, because if we are part of the city, you are going to need to fix our roads, to get us water city. But we don't need water. We already have water. One way or another, if I drink water from the well, it's my responsibility. If I get water from the store, but I get water anyway. I have electricity. We have electricity.
Mayor.
So I don't think that we need to go inside of the city. Thank you.
Ms. Aguirre, I believe that you are not in phase 1 annexations.
Yes.
If you'll just make sure with our city staff, I believe your property is not going to be in the annexation.
I was in the first annexation. That's why I'm here.
There's been a reduced map, and in that reduced map, you are not in.
My point is that.
Make sure you're aware, ma'am. That's
Okay, thank you. My point is that why you need to annex more people inside of the city? Why the city needs to fix a lot of stuff in the city? That's my point.
Okay, now,
Thank you.
As far as the hospital, okay, as far as the hospital is concerned, Harvey came through and it tore up the hospital. It's a privately owned business, so FEMA was not be able to help them out to get it rebuilt. Apparently, the insurance money that they had went towards paying off the building, and they chose not to rebuild it. And we've been trying really hard to rebuild that hospital and get it back together, but the obstacle is that it's privately owned, and we can't get no funding through the government to be able to help them out. And that's the reason why we're where we're at. And it would be nice if those people would say, hey, city, y'all can have it, and turn it into a 501c3, then we can go out there and get some funding for it. But that is exactly what's going on with the hospital right now, and we're trying really hard to get it back. I believe Billy even went to Austin, and he took that argument up there with him to see if we could get the hospital rebuilt. and we're really trying to do something about it. We really trying to get everybody here in the city, water and sewer. The place that we annexed over here in Sherwood Williams, they should be getting, Sherwood Forest, should be getting their sewer here pretty soon. We've already received the 2 grants to be able to accomplish that. We are moving forward. The other area that we have water and sewer that we never had before was over here on Johnson and Highland, and Rhodes and Beasley. And at this present time, we've already got that work on the way. So we're really working hard to be able to get everybody the services that we need to get to them. And we're really trying to do best for what's best for the city on the actions that we're taking. And we're really considering everybody's opinion and everybody's word about how to actually handle this. And I think we're doing a real good job as far as how we're trying to work this out to where it benefits the city and everybody else involved.
Thank you for hearing me.
Solution and everything, just like,
Yep,
you know,
but
Harvey
he
did
did.
slow everything down. Right.
I
Sure
would like
did.
to say at this time, we, as a council right now, we did not have to have citizens' comments. But at this meeting, at this time, we did not have to have citizens' comments. But we collectively wanted to, because we do want to hear what y'all have to say. It is very important. We do believe in property owners' rights, and it is very important for us to hear what you have to say and not be kept away from being able to do that.
My name is Calvin Hillis. I have land in town, and I have land I bought to go out of the city limits because that's what I wanted, because of building codes and ordinances. I got to visit with Chief Blanchard yesterday and his assistant, Chief Wood. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. They came to my house, sitting in my pickup to talk to me about my 18-wheeler that's parked in my yard. I've lived in this house for 15 years. And he comes and tells me that I can't park my truck there. And, you know, we're gonna move, okay, I'm gonna move out here. But now the city is wanting to annex that. So guess what? This little rule is gonna follow me out there. And I have nowhere to park this truck. I own it, you know. I could, as they told me, I could talk to one of the landowners on the main drags and park there, leave it unsecured. All the little dope heads can break into it, no problem. And I try to tell Mr. Blanchard that, you know, I didn't want to be a real butthole about this, but, you know, like I said, I've been here 15 years. My truck has never had a trailer on it. I come in, it weighs less than 20,000 pounds. The garbage truck that goes by my house twice a week, as they said, it provides a service for us, yes. But they weigh 60,000 pounds, 3 times what my truck weighs. The streets are not torn up anywhere right there, which is what the supposedly ordinance is to cover, tearing up the streets. But the street hasn't been repaired in 20 years. It's fine. So I do not want this kind of stuff following me out there. That's why I'm against. They tell me right now we're not actual part. We got removed from the annexation. But it's like everybody says, things in town are bad enough right now. Can't take care of them. Why do we expect all this new to be taken care of? And that's it. So, thank you.
You want to say something?
I just wanted to make sure whether or not he was in or out, and if he wants to talk to city staff, we can verify, but it sounds like he already knows that he's out. He's not gonna be annexed. You can check with our city staff right here.
1200 West Moore.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Opal Wiltshire. I'm a nurse. I do home health. I work in your city. My area is Rockport, Aransas, Ingleside, Portland, and Gregory. Most of your residents that went through Hurricane Harvey in the city that did not have the money to rebuild are living in their homes in conditions that they don't need to be living in. I have a patient right now that has no city water going up into the house at all. So personally, I think that we should use the city's ability to help the people inside the city. These are elderly people. These are people that are crippled. These are people living on disability. These are people that have no money. They have nothing. So personally, as a nurse that I get to go see all of these people, they need help. So you or whoever's in the city, because I don't live in the city, you guys need to reach out for these people. Do you know how many times that I have reached out and got houses built for patients? How many times that I have took my own money out of my pocket and bought groceries and all those things? Well, that's because the community as a community doesn't come together right now. So now you want to add all of these other annexations out there, and what are we going to do? I obviously can't afford to take money out of my pocket for everybody. The city should work on what you guys have as far as an infrastructure. The water tower needs to be rebuilt. We have lots of things that need to be done inside the city. We don't want to be annexed into the city. We chose to live in the county for reasons. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter who has chickens. That's her life. She goes outside to collect eggs every day. If we're in the city, what are we going to have? Code enforcement out there telling me, you can't have those chickens no more. You can't have this anymore. You can't have that anymore. We're taking away all of the loveliness that these people have, the liveliness. So
What is the address of the sick or elderly woman that you said
I-
has no running water?
I personally cannot give you that. That is a HIPAA violation.
We'll have her contact us.
Well, I think what the council member is offering is if you want to take a look at the tracks of that are in, you can, we don't know if whoever you're referring to will be annexed or non-annexed because we don't know
They're already
the
in your
address.
city. That's what I'm trying to say. They're in the city already.
All right. So for information purposes, I just want to make sure people are aware of this. I do have a list of eligible resident homestead exemptions that people can apply for, as well as applications that they can submit to the appraisal district. For
Do you want to go to their
exemptions.
homes and do that? Because I fill out the forms for my patients. I don't have the time to do your work job and mine too. See what I'm saying? Like
This is
you as a
actually-
city should bring that to your citizens inside the city. You're not bringing that to your citizens. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's what I'm trying to say. I go above and beyond my job. My job is just to go out there and do check them, make sure they're okay, call the doctors if they need help. My job is to do that. It's not to get them a new house built because Hurricane Harvey tore it and they have holes leaking in their roof. I have a
just
lady
wanna
that lays
provide
in a bed
information to the
in
public
ants.
about the exemptions, that's all. I'm not trying to say whose job is what. If there's information you wish to seek regarding eligible
Did you hear me?
exemptions that you may have.
65 years old, disabled, and cannot get out of bed. What do you want them to do? They don't have the ability to go and fill those things out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. People are out there that have disabilities that cannot get where they need to get.
I think you do need to call the city and give us the address so that we can reach out to help. But if we don't know that they need the help, we can't go door to door and asking.
If I give you the thing, you're going to go and put a condemnation notice on their door, and then they're not going to have a home to live in. They're going to be living somewhere else.
Well, yes, you will. If they're living in an environment that they shouldn't be in, maybe they need help.
Adult Protective Services has been contacted for my patient.
Okay.
So I have made efforts, and I have done my job and my part to do that. But it's not my part to put a condemnation notice on their house so they cannot live in their homes. That's their choice. But that's what I'm just saying, is there's no running water into a home that's in the city, and you want to annex all of us out in the county. If you can't make sure that there's water going into these homes in the city, then how are you going to get us water and all of that out in the county?
Well, I would hope before you left here that you would provide to this Public Works, the city water department up there. Somebody needs to be notified that this lady does not have running water.
I will not step on a HIPAA violation and lose my license for anybody on this council. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so, any more discussion? Sure enough, come on out to the front. Can you,
raise
can you
taxes?
state your name?
I'm Tisha Baker.
And
Did
your
y'all raise
address?
taxes out there? Did
Ma'am?
y'all make those people pay taxes?
In Sherwood Forest?
Yeah, out there in
The
Sherwood,
place that we annexed here
a couple years ago.
a couple of years ago? I do believe.
So what happened to that money?
What money?
The tax money?
That's,
Y'all got grants to do all that.
say,
The amount of cost, and I don't have those figures, maybe the city manager can assist. The amount of cost to pay for sewer lines, water drainage, utility lines far exceeds the minimal amount of property values that were annexed in. So it's typical for grants to assist cities along with any tax increase that they might have received to provide proper services.
The water and sewer in that, to that location will cost over $1 million. The amount of tax dollars received are in the very small figure for that isolated area.
Okay, have y'all even done the math for out there? Y'all gonna need grants to do?
Yes.
Actually, there is a service plan on all the areas we're talking about that'll be at the public hearings. This is not a public hearing as such on Phase 1, Phase 2, and if council decides Phase 3, there is a section called Service to be Provided. I will be taking care of that, and we'll have those figures, and that's a good question. We will have those numbers at those public hearings beginning next week.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Just one real quick one. I've been made aware that there was reference made in the past about tracts of land, a corridor where the city of Corpus Christi could access the waterway, and in turn annex the coastal property. Can somebody provide clarification as to what those tracts of land are and where they are? Thank you.
It's not information I have available with me right now. I can't answer that.
Is there any way you can get an answer to us at some time?
If the mayor and the city council instruct me to do, of course.
Would you instruct her to do so, Mr. Mayor?
Say it again?
To get the information of the gentleman's question he just asked, how is it that Corpus Christi can annex through waterways? Where's the lot numbers? What are the lot numbers?
did you understand, did you understand the question? Because I'm not sure that I did.
I don't think he repeated the question correctly. I understand from Rockport Terminals, they want to know what was the corridor that Corpus Christi could catch that would actually attach the Rockport Terminal for Rockport Terminal to be next to Corpus Christi's ETJ.
I'll clarify that question in just one moment. This is not to do with Rockport terminals. This is just strictly, comment has been made in the past, and I think voting was partially based on this information, that there was a corridor that the Corpus Christi city could access to get to the waterway.
That's correct, and it leads right to your Rockport Terminal property.
Okay, well, it's just not, I'm not concerned about Rockport terminals, we're trying to find out where this corridor is, because the maps that we have show no corridor. So, and I'm worried that the voting that the councilors based their decision on is based on bad information.
It is not. We'll have a map available at the public hearing.
No, we're not
Yes,
basing it on.
We will make sure that that information gets to you, because that is the information that is presented to us. So we want you to make sure that you understand where we're getting our information from. So that will be provided to you. Public hearing. At the public hearing.
No.
So you guys spoke about a grant for, sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You guys spoke about grants for Sherwood Forest. I don't know much about grants, but are grants guaranteed?
Yeah.
They're guaranteed money.
I
You ask
actually
for it, they just give it to you?
got a phone call from the people that were giving the money out that we did get a $500,000 grant and a $400,000 grant.
Yes, you received that money for Sherwood.
Yes.
And in addition to that, design work has started. Money has,
Already.
the grant is received, it's not an if, It is received. Design has started.
But my real question, sir, and ladies, you got what you got for Sherwood. I'm not questioning that.
Okay.
You're relying on grants, or are you relying on grants for phase 1, 2, and 3 of this new annexation? And if so, are those grants guaranteed?
Well, first of all, we can't apply for grants till we actually annex the land. Then, we will go after every single option and every single resource that we can to be able to provide those services.
And I would
And like
greatly
you said,
appreciate.
we have a plan, a script out on what we gotta do and at what time, how long we have to do it. And we just gotta make sure and get out there and get our resources and make sure that we get that money to be able to do it.
Mr. Mayor, the specific question that the gentleman is raising will be addressed in the public hearing. It's a good question. It'll be addressed in the upcoming public hearings.
Actually, my question was, are grants guaranteed? I'm not talking about what you've already got, future grants.
Grants are not guaranteed.
Thank you.
Calvin Hillis again, I got one more clarification. When she was talking about, we need to get this annexation now because later, we can't get a voluntary annexation. Why is that? Because the people there don't want it. They know what things are like. And you're trying to ram this through and force us in, take our tax money, force codes and stuff on us, and you know we're not gonna want it. That's why she said, you'll never get it after this. That's why everybody's here at noon. You know, if this was a 7 o'clock meeting, that'd probably be 4 times this many.
And this is why we are allowing you
I
to
understand.
express your.
I understand, you could have done
so
this
that we
without
can hear
this. But I feel like it's wasted because your minds are made up already. You're gonna do all of this.
That is not true.
That is not a
that
true
is not
statement.
true.
That's not a true
No,
statement.
it's
However,
not.
it says,
Come up and speak,
city
Mr.
council
Hillis.
votes for annexation. It's on the paper this week.
Sir, did we see whether or not your property was gonna be annexed in?
No, but once you surround me, you do absorb me.
Okay, so
I'm
you're,
in.
I just wanna make sure you know.
Oh, well, I'm
that-
asking questions. No, they said I'm not in it right now.
Okay, I wanna
But-
make sure that you know that.
Once you get all around me, it's gonna be no time before I'm in anyway.
Actually, you're one of the lucky ones. If House Bill 347 passes, and it will, you'll never be annexed in.
Well, see, that's why I think, why don't you wait? Why don't you wait and see what this bill does? You know what it's gonna do.
Because if we wait, Corpus is coming around and Corpus is gonna take over all those certain spots.
They can't take your ETJ. That's what my understanding is Corpus cannot annex your ETJ. And that's why you're supposed to be doing
And that's
this.
why we're trying to extend our ETJ so we can keep them away as far as we can instead of
ETJ, I'm fine
you
with.
leaving Aransas, going into Corpus and then
We could
getting
go-
out of a Corpus and going into Aransas again.
ETJ 5 miles away, I don't care about the ETJ. I'm just tired of code enforcement. I'm living in an RV in my driveway because my house, TWIA will not pay off to fix it. You know, I can't get enough money to rebuild a new house because of Harvey, losses I took. And I'm living in an RV, I got a permit in my door on my RV from the city. Code enforcement comes by and slaps me with a violation on there, 18 inches away from that permit. I don't like code enforcement. They're always coming to my shop over here that I rent, that I work on my own equipment, because some lady down at the end of the road keeps calling and saying I'm running a mechanic business out of there. He comes out 8 times, 9 times, I don't know, but I don't like code enforcement. I mean, I'm not doing anything. I've lived here in this house 15 years. I've been in Aransas Pass since 1978 when I moved here. Married local, raised my kids here. I mean, I understand you don't want rattle traps thrown up, but everybody's going into the county to get away from the city codes. Aransas County has building permits. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to go today to get some so that I can avoid, even if I do get annexed, I can build according to their codes. I can't afford the money to build to city code. So that's all I've got to say today. Thank you.
Clarification, you said if this bill passes, he'll be one of the lucky ones and will not ever be annexed? That's wrong.
It's true.
You
True story.
can annex any areas that want to be volunteered, is that correct?
It's only gonna be voluntary.
Voluntarily
It'll only be
annexed?
voluntary.
We were at the same meeting over there in Austin.
Yes, Exactly.
You know exactly what's going on
Well,
with Corpus.
You know I'm against Corpus annexing San Patricio.
Yes, that's why we were over there.
Okay, it should be voluntary. I don't think 300 to 3 is voluntary. I think it's shameful that you should be trying to annex people who want to be in the country so that they can have their chickens, their cattle, their guns, their fences, their lack of fences, their vehicles parked near the street or road or two-lane path, have their water well, have their septic, have their kids play. Voluntarism is a good thing, and if people wanted to be annexed, they could be annexed. We don't want to be annexed.
Let's go ahead.
I think you need to cut it.
Yeah, you want,
Tell 'em.
last one.
I want to thank y'all for listening to all of us, every one of y'all. I want to say one thing. The very first meeting, the town hall meeting that I was, not town hall, but the meeting in here, the property where I stay was taken out of it. Thank y'all. I would like to say one thing. The reason why there are a lot of people in here, and thank you for asking them, if you're not sure if you're annexed anymore, go find out. Just like all the people supported me the first time, that's why some of the other people that aren't being annexed as of right now are here. We are all in the county. We all support each other. It was real apparent. I moved here 3 years ago, right after Hurricane Harvey. I saw what the people on Adolfo and Jacoby and Rabbit Run, what they did for each other. My wife now has a big freezer. Nobody had power. You couldn't get down McCampbell because of all the roads. She fired up the pit and she made plates for everybody. And she told her boys, whenever the trucks would come down, because they would wash, she's got 3 boys, they would go down and somebody would offer them, here's a plate. And she told her boys, do not take that. The only thing they were allowed to take is dog food, because they had food. And I'm telling y'all this story. Yeah, y'all have a very tough decision to make, because you have so many lives dependent on it, livelihoods. You know, the people who don't just move out to the country because they want to get away from the city because they don't like the city, but it's because, well, it's kind of that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, please. We have 10 vehicles in our property. Okay, 9 of them run. Every one of them run. One of our sons is a mechanic. Okay, the yard does not look trashy at all. We take care of each other out there. If somebody needs help because they don't have a tractor, come over, we'll help you out. You can ask any of our neighbors. Okay, so I hope, and if anybody speaks after me, that's fine. Please put some thought into this. Okay, we know, not for a fact. I work construction. I've been to small towns. I've seen big business comes in, and I've seen how it develops. 3 years ago, if you would have talked to me, I would have told you the development is coming. There's one gas station from Rockport all the way down until you get to Aransas Pass, and even then you have to exit and come over by Walmart. With the amount of people that are moving here for all these other companies, Oxy, Exxon, Cheniere, LNG, they've got 5 more trains going in over there. You're looking at over 12,000 more people just in 2 projects. Okay, so minimum half of them are going to end up moving here. I understand it, and I'm sure these people do too. You want to increase your revenue by having a property or whatever. I hope I'm saying that the right way. That's not all of it. Because you have all these people that are going to need places to live. And not everybody's going to want to live in an RV park or something of that nature. So I get that part of it. But all these people out here, just like with my wife right now, 25 plus years ago, with 3 boys, 3 children, bought 1 piece of property and raised them boys on it. She has literally made that property what it is today, and when she dies, that property is supposed to go to her boys. Okay? So So you annex us, and we get all these high rates and all this. Everything increases. We don't have this. We don't have this, and then big business comes in and they start developing. It's going to run them out. So everything that this woman has worked for, and she doesn't get all the credit because she had a husband before me. Okay, so I don't want to leave them out. But I will tell you, it's very commendable what this lady has done. It really is. So I hope that, which I know y'all will make a good decision for the better of all the people, okay? Just please hear, I know some people are very adamant about certain things, and I get it. I'm sitting over in the corner and I'm agreeing with them. I'm with y'all, but I hope that y'all are with us, and thank you for letting us talk. I appreciate it.
You want to make a motion? 3-1.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
No,
not yet.
No, not yet.
I thought you were finished.
No, we gotta do
3-1.
the resolution.
We're gonna do 3-1.
Oh, you're right, okay.
Need a motion?
Well, I make a motion, we approve resolution 2019-889.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you can make the motion to
Now
adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bob, Lisa.
And thank you all.
Thank you all, guys. We're trying really hard.